And he spoke the verses, yeah? Like Surah Fatiha, Baqarah, all the way to Nas, right?
God come into your, whatever you just said, just then, where does God come into that?
What do you mean, where does God come into
it? Like,
God created the Quran. God is the one that spoke the Quran. This is the word of Allah, right? The Quran is uncreated. It's the speech of Allah, right? And He spoke it, Allah gave it to Muhammad, right? Now Muhammad, when he speaks, he was given the Quran and also his own speech. Yeah? Pardon?
where's the evidence from the Quran?
About what?
You just said.
Muhammad was given the Quran. It wasn't given to you, was it?
It was by God.
Through Muhammad. Yeah. Now, how do you know that is the Quran? Because Prophet Muhammad said, "This is the Quran, and everything else I speak is my speech."
Where does he say that? What verse?
It's not about what verse. So you're saying that everything Muhammad said is Quran, or some things he said is Quran, and some.
In the Quran was conveyed by Muhammad.
Yes. So how do you distinguish? So how do you distinguish between the part that is the Quran and the part when Muhammad speaks normally? How do you know?
Because God says, Muhammad says, or he'll say, "O believers, O people of the scripture."
Okay.
He'll address who he's talking to. Muhammad, he'll say, and the word "say"
Well,
is in the Quran.
not every ayah is like that. Not every ayah says "say."
It's good you said that, because guess what? The word "say" is in the Quran 338 times.
Okay.
Say. It starts with "say." So God has told Muhammad to say, and then
But
then
not
Muhammad
not
will
every
say.
verse was revealed like that. Not every verse was revealed like that. Let me give you an example. Muhammad, when he speaks, sometimes when it's the Quran, he would distinguish and he would tell the companions, "This is the Quran." And then when other times when he would speak, he would say, "This is not Quran." He's telling us what is and what isn't the Quran. Do you understand what I mean?
God is.
No, Muhammad is telling
No,
us.
God, he said say.
No,
Then Muhammad will say.
God is not here.
told
God
him
is
what
not
to
on the.
say,
God is not.
And God has said
Oh
say.
my days.
At the beginning, yes.
Can you
Is
just?
that
Can
hard?
you? No, come on. I think you're very confused.
No, but you're trying to tell me.
No.
I have to believe Muhammad.
You're very confused.
I
Seriously.
don't. I have to believe God. I believe that.
You cannot know what the Quran is unless Muhammad tells you what the Quran is. I'm a Muslim, by the way. You know I'm a Muslim. I'm not a Christian. I'm a Muslim. You know that. Huh?
Yeah, but I get.
Do you think I was a Christian?
Yeah, but I don't get why you're saying like.
Listen. The Quran that we have today, the only way you know it's the Quran is because Prophet Muhammad said, "I received this from Allah."
It's because God did it. God says, "I will compile it, and I will preserve it." He will compile it. He will
Through who? Through who? Muhammad. He's the prophet. That's the concept of a prophet. The prophet receives the revelation, and when the prophet speaks, he will distinguish that this is the Quran, and this is my speech. You understand? And then his companions recorded the Quran, and they also recorded his speech and actions. So you have two types of revelation. You have the Quran, and you have the Sunnah. They both came the same way through his companions, because there's no way you can distinguish what is Quran and what is the speech of Muhammad except through Muhammad and his companions. And both the Quran and the Sunnah have been preserved in exactly the same way through these companions and through their companions and through their companions all the way back till today. Yeah, but you're wrong. That's why I'm trying to explain that you're wrong. I'm a convert as well.
I'm a convert, right? So you come to I'm a convert. You have to believe this hadith. Okay, take it. It's a Sunni one. Okay. You have to believe mine. No, it's a Shia one. Okay. No, it's a Sufi one. Like no. Who is anyone to
Very
tell
good,
me
very good, very good.
what I can believe?
That's good.
Because I was a Christian and I was like,
I was the same.
I have to believe this one. No, you have to believe
Yeah.
this. I've had it.
No. By the way, listen, I totally. Let me tell you.
believe in God.
Listen, what you're saying, I know, is through complete sincerity. I know.
Yeah.
I know you're not just denying to be spiteful. I can understand
Yeah,
that. Listen, I was in your position, right? I was a Christian before, and the hadith for me initially felt like the Bible, where the Bible is a collection of writings by different people, which came after Jesus. And so the hadith sounded like that. It's a collection of writings that came after Muhammad, about Muhammad. Yeah?
Yeah.
But let me tell you,
there's
we're not
peaceful
saying
ones. Yeah,
we're not
of course
saying that
there
all
is.
the hadith.
You know, it can all,
Yeah,
it can all
we're
be
not saying
right.
we're not saying. Let me explain. We're not saying that all the hadith are authentic. The hadith, the scholars managed to authenticate which ones are authentic and which ones are not. Okay? We're not saying all hadith. No, we're only saying the ones that we can trace back through the lineage to.
That's history.
Yeah,
I know, I get
exactly.
that.
So in history,
I know that.
the same way
I
we.
just don't believe it's the law of God. And what's happened is it's the law, but it goes against
So
God. So
let me
I'm not
explain
gonna be
the
part of it.
the
I'm
the.
just gonna, God willing, get to
Yeah.
God and
I can feel your sincerity, right?
it's
But
peaceful.
but let me
There's no force
but let me.
belief.
I know, but you're missing out.
These do
Can
that, and that's
let me explain something, right? There's a huge part which you're missing, because the Muslims all around the world for 1400 years, the authentic way of understanding revelation is that there's two types of revelation. The first type is the one that Allah revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the Quran. This is the Quran.
So what if a Shia told me now and said that? What?
They believe the same.
So, right.
Shia, Sunni, we also believe this, by the way.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't have to believe either.
But then you got your. Then, no, you don't. You don't have to believe either. But you're on a different
Christian
religion.
people told me, no, don't go to that church. Go to that one.
No, it's not. It's not.
So I don't want to. I just want to.
There's a difference. There's a difference between.
I just want to believe
Sister,
in God. That's it.
sister,
Yeah.
what you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
But you're missing a point. It's a really important point as well.
And it causes division.
No, listen.
That's the main thing.
What causes
Do not be
division?
in a sect, do not be
The,
divided.
the Quran tells us
That's what he's saying.
to follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, doesn't it? The Quran tells you follow Prophet Muhammad.
No, all the messengers.
The Quran specifically tells you to follow Prophet Muhammad.
No, it specifically tells us to follow all the prophets.
But
And not to make one better than the other.
No problem.
Not to make.
But
not
the
to
Quran
make
tells us to follow the Prophet Muhammad, to obey Muhammad. How are you supposed to obey Muhammad when you don't know anything about him?
Obey Muhammad. If God's
Do you
given
accept
his
Muhammad as a
word,
prophet?
If he's given us his word from the Torah to the Gospel to the Psalms.
No, we don't believe in the Bible.
Quran,
Muslims
why
don't
is he
believe in the
gonna tell
Bible.
me after all of that, go and obey a messenger?
Listen. Can I, sister?
No, he means
Do you believe
obey
in?
the Quran.
Do you believe the
To
Bible?
me, that's what it
Listen.
means. Obey God and obey the messenger.
Sister,
The angel.
Can I just explain something, please?
Who brought the Quran? The messenger is the Quran. The Quran is a messenger.
For us as Muslims,
Yeah.
listen.
It doesn't say obey
Listen,
Muhammad.
listen.
Where
It
does it
does.
say obey Muhammad?
We'll find the ayah for you.
Alright.
Can you find the ayah about obeying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
And if, yeah.
So listen.
It's his word.
Listen.
I mean, it's God's word.
Listen,
That's
sister.
right.
For us, we don't believe in the Bible. We believe in a Torah given to Moses and Injil given to Jesus. This doesn't exist. Okay? It's not the Bible.
God is still in there, though.
No, the Bible is a
He
collection.
says,
The Bible, just 1 minute. The Bible is a collection of
those who are
biographies.
Christian, when they read this, they will recognize it like they recognize their own son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is what happened. Because nobody, you're saying that whole book is not one bit of God.
I'm saying that the Bible,
Torah, the Gospel,
I'm
the
saying-
Psalms, it's God. And it's the same in the Quran.
can I explain?
Yeah, that's right.
Can I explain?
But that's why.
What
every
is-
time I'll speak a little bit, I'm saying that is, that's God.
Can I explain? There's a difference between the Islamic.
What's the difference between you telling me to follow these hadiths?
You're not letting me speak. I can't even.
Make it a law of God.
Can I explain?
Yeah.
From our perspective, the Torah is a book that was given to Moses. What they call the Torah today they claim is authored by Moses. not something given to Moses. The first 5 books. The Injil was a book given to Jesus. Yeah? What they have today is a collection of books, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John and Paul, etc., authored after Jesus about Jesus. That's fine. They can have that religion. But that's not the Islamic concept of Injil. Does that make sense? Our concept is Jesus was given a book called the Injil. Okay? Number 1. The Bible today is not the Torah and Injil. Does it have some truth in there? Yes. It speaks about Moses parting the sea, Isa, Jesus being born miraculously. Does that mean it's revelation? No. We can't trace the Bible back to Jesus or Moses. We're not saying that there's nothing true in there. If it agrees with the Quran, it's true. But it doesn't mean it's revelation. It can't be traced back to the prophets. Similarly, we have some hadith that can't be traced back to the Prophet Muhammad. We don't use them, we reject them. Okay, they're not authentic. We have many hadith that agree with Islam. Let me explain. We have many hadith that agree with Islam, but they're not authentic.
What's the difference with yours?
Huh?
What's the difference with yours?
With yours what? We'll come to that in a moment. But let me just finish this point. That's fine. But can I just finish? Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. I'll explain. Give me 1 minute. I'll explain. It seems like you're setting your position, but you're not willing to even listen and understand the majority position on this, because you actually going to be following your own religion if you reject the hadith. This is your own religion.
How can I follow?
Because for us, the Quran and the Sunnah, the Sunnah, the Quran and the Sunnah, the Quran and the Sunnah are both 2 different types of revelation. As we mentioned, can you put that one on? This is you can show the sister. This is the verse here. It says, "Oh, you have believed, okay, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those in authority among you." So it tells us to obey Allah and obey the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
No, you said it said Muhammad.
The Messenger, that's who it's speaking about.
No, you said it says obey
Okay, who's
Muhammad.
it speaking about
Even
then?
if it did, whether it did or it didn't.
Who's it speaking about then? Because now you're giving tafsir. This is very dangerous.
We're not going to believe what each other
Listen,
believes.
this is very
Now
dangerous.
we're going to believe what each other believes. He's talking right there.
Who's talking?
Yeah.
Who?
God is talking where he's speaking in the Quran.
Oh, in the Quran, yeah. Sorry.
He's speaking there.
You can't just make it up. That's dangerous. The point is,
Right, oh, you have believed, yeah?
yeah.
Obey Allah, obey the Messenger, and those in authority among you. And if you disagree over anything,
Return it to
refer
Allah and the Messenger.
That is the best way.
We are required.
No, wait.
Okay, go on. Give your
So
tafsir.
do you believe? No, I'm not giving you tafsir.
This is what you're doing.
No, but you do one.
Listen, can I tell you? Every sect of Islam, every sect of Islam believes that that's talking about the Prophet Muhammad. But without hadith, how can you obey Muhammad?
Who's everyone?
Pardon?
Who's everyone?
Every sect of Islam believes that that's talking about Muhammad. Yeah, it believes that's talking about every group of Muslims.
You just said sex.
Yeah, every
Do you
sect.
know what God says about sex?
I'm not saying that the correct sex.
No, you said sex.
No,
And
the
that-
pro-
if
the
you
pro-
read the Quran, that's
The Prophet Muhammad, what's that, a sig? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that the Muslims will be split into 73 sects. Yes, he did. We're not saying it's a good. No, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that
yeah,
the Muslims will be separated into 73 sects. Okay.
yeah.
Now,
The Quran did.
we're not saying all the sects are correct. No. What we say? Let me finish, please. Okay.
I was just
Okay.
but
Listen, we can go around in circles. No problem. You don't have to believe it. Let me just finish off. From our perspective, the majority of Muslims, who people claim to be Muslim, we believe the Quran. We believe in the Quran. We believe in the statements and the actions of the Prophet Muhammad as revelation. Okay. What I was saying to you is, you have no way of distinguishing between the Quran and the Sunnah unless Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tells you this is the Quran and this is my speech and actions, because both of them have been preserved the same way through the Sahaba.
Let's go to your Sunnah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No contradictions in there.
Authentic.
Let's say the last sermon, or
What last sermon?
because the three different surahs, the three different things that he gave at the end. Sorry, so cold. I've left you.
So
the book of God,
are you?
number one.
So are you
I've
denying
left
hadith?
I've left you the book of God and my Sunnah, or number 3. I've left you the book of God and my family. Are you telling me I have to pick? So that's your own hadith.
Okay, so you're
How can
rejecting.
you sit here and just push this on? Because I'm not pushing, but I'm just saying.
So you're rejecting hadith
If
because
I choose one of them from your hadith, one of the options that says the book of God, who's anyone to come and tell me I'm wrong?
what do you mean?
Because that's from your hadith. So according to you,
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute. No, 1 minute. You can speak later if you want. So you're saying.
Quran and my family.
So you-
I've left you. The Quran and my Sunnah. I've left you. The Quran.
So you have a problem with hadith because.
I just believe the Quran. I don't.
Okay. Well, what I'll leave you with something to think about is how do you know the Quran is the Quran? That's something. Go home
How
and
do you know which one to pick out of
go.
those three?
No problem. You
If
go.
answer one
You
question of
you go
mine,
home. No, you go home.
No, answer. How can
Just
you-
1 minute.
No.
Go home
Yeah.
and have a think.
No.
How do you know?
Think that which one
How
should
do
I-
you know
Yeah.
that this is the Quran? And the way you know is through a chain of transmission.
He created all of us.
Okay, you just
I love God.
he's just coming. Yeah, he's just coming off your head now, and
I love
yeah.
love God so
I'm
much.
sure you do, and I do believe you're sincere,
I believe He will.
and I hope you're sincere.
He will
But
make. He
but
will-
if you if
someone's guidance, yeah. So everyone's got different paths. Everyone's got different journeys. You know, your eye colour is different to my eye colour. Skin colour is different. God says, "I've made you tribes that you may know one another." Yeah, not push your mind onto yours. Not this and that. And that's His teaching.
do you pray?
That's His teaching. No, but you're interrupting us. That's His
I'm
teaching.
interrupting.
That's His teaching. It's simple. And if somebody gets to age 60 or age 70, you know, their guidance still might not be done yet. God has given us a journey.
I totally understand that. Well, the subject, what we're trying to, the thing we're trying to establish is how do we know the Quran is the Quran? That's what I'm talking about. You can't just say
You have to trust in it.
it's not though, because we have a chain of transmission back from the Prophet himself saying this is the Quran.
Just a couple of minutes ago, you referred to the Bible as similar story in the sense that
But they don't have
really
it.
take their words for truth. because
No.
It's been written about Jesus later on.
No, because
Paul, etc.
the difference with the Bible doesn't have that chain of transmission. That's why we don't accept it.
Again, we put our faith into that.
No, because we don't have a chain of transmission.
I can portray myself in one
This,
way to
brother,
one people and be something different.
you can think what you like. This is a science. This is something that can be analysed. Even non-Muslims have analysed the chain of transmission of the Quran and the Hadith. That this is the same Quran that Prophet Muhammad had. Even non-Muslims are saying that, right? They're not doubting that. They don't believe it's from God.
That's because the Quran itself
The
talks
point-
about itself that it's going to be preserved.
No, but it could be one ayah that talks about itself. We're talking about the specific collection of verses from Fatiha to Nas. That collection, what we all agree on today, 1 minute, is the Quran. How do you know that is the Quran? It's because Prophet Muhammad told his companions, and them companions told their companions, all back till today. Does that make sense? The same with hadith. Now, some hadith don't have that chain. If it doesn't have that chain, it's not accepted. The same as the Bible. The Bible doesn't have the chain.
Characters of
So what?
individuals can be.
That's different. That's
that goes
about.
back to the chain.
No
That's what the
problem.
science
Yeah,
of
but
chain
that's you're going into the details of how you authenticate. We don't even need to go that far.
Who operates?
We don't even need to go that far. The point is, the Bible doesn't have one full stop, and we can distinguish between an authentic and an inauthentic hadith. Now it's not. It's a science book. What? Listen, am I supposed to believe you? I'm supposed to believe the scholars around the world, and even non-Muslim scholars are talking about this.
There's one thing I would like to mention.
Okay, just 1 minute. The point I'm mentioning which you're coming back to it, and I really want you to think about it when you go home. How do you know the Quran, which we have today, is the Quran? And the answer is because Prophet Muhammad told us that this is the Quran, and he told his companions, and them companions told them companions back to us today.
Us today, how can we know that the Quran is from Allah and it's the truth? My answer would be, the Quran itself says, we are the...
So let me say, if I remove...
We've kept the book together and we are protectors over it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Allah protects His own Quran.
Yeah.
The difference is, Hadith is not on the same level as the Quran in that aspect of this is His words and this is His legislation.
I never said it. I never said it's the same.
No, but the problem is...
But it is revelation. It's not, authentic hadith is revelation. It's not kalam Allah.
No, but
It's not kalam Allah. Although hadith Qudsi would also be kalam Allah.
No, but the point is that...
But it's not. But the Quran has a higher status. I understand that.
The sister said earlier, there is 3 different narrations.
Do you reject hadith as well?
I'm open-minded. I'm a Muslim.
Yes or no?
I'm a Muslim. That comes first.
So are you open-minded that the hadith are authentic?
Taking possibilities because you don't know who wrote history.
Okay.
That's my perspective.
So that.
But my question is...
And history is not protected, yeah. So
Shias
only the Book of Allah is protected.
Shias have...
That's why you have to study, bro.
Shias have the understanding of the Quran and Ahl al-Bayt, or the Utrat Ahl al-Bayt.
I understand, yeah. That's why you have to do your research.
In the Sunni mosques, they narrate...
You do know Shia don't believe the Quran is preserved. You know that.
But that's
Can I
not
continue?
But you keep talking about Shia, but they don't believe the Quran is preserved.
Are the Shia not Muslim?
Some scholars say that the scholars of the Shia are not Muslim
Okay, fair enough.
because they believe the Quran is not
Okay,
preserved.
but I'm going back to the point I'm
But the lay Shia don't know.
the point I'm making.
Are you Shia?
I'm background Shia.
Okay. Do you know the Shia don't believe the Quran? They believe the Quran is corrupted.
Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah, sure. It's a question.
I was asking a question. You've been interrupted. There's 3 different, I think 2, as far as I know. The Quran Ahl al-Bayt, which is, I think, in the majority of hadiths of the Sunnah and the Shia, and Quran and Sunnah. Which one do you follow?
Is what, sorry?
There's a hadith after the Prophet. He said, these are hadith al-Thaqalain.
Yeah.
If you follow the Quran and my Ahl al-Bayt, you will not go astray.
Okay.
Is it this version or is it the other version?
I don't know. I need to check to see if the hadith.
Have you been to mosques and what have you heard?
I need to see which hadith is authentic. For me, whichever hadith is authentic, I'll affirm it. But to be honest, on these 2, I don't know about the level of authenticity on it. Did you learn your Islam from this brother? Do you know each other? No. You never met? Okay. So yeah, just to confirm, the Shia don't believe the Quran is preserved. Yeah. So just something to think about.
If you're born into a religion, you're going to take that.
But you know.
Have, family and community.
Yeah. But I just wanted to iron out that point that the hadith is not like the Bible.
And my point is that the hadith is also not like the Quran. That's my point.
It's not. It's different. No, it's different.
Yeah.
So
the hadith is there to teach, but not to
we're not supposed to put all our faith into the hadith. We're supposed to find out which ones are authentic. Right? The scholars have done that. And if you want, you can learn that science yourself and do it yourself. Yeah? But you have to get off your backside and do it. It's not easy. Other than that, you're going to have to listen to the scholars of hadith. Right? Even non-Muslims can learn the science of hadith and do that work. It's very difficult. So what you have to do, if you really want to do it yourself, learn how to authenticate the hadith, and then you know which ones are authentic and which ones are not. Once it's authentic and you know that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said this or did this, you have to obey it. Let me ask you a question. If you can be sure that Prophet Muhammad said something or did something, would you accept that hadith? If you can be sure that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said or did something, you'd accept it, right?
If I know,
if you know for certain.
We can't know anything for certain.
No, we can. This is too skeptical, brother. This is way too skeptical. Let me tell you, when we're talking about authentic hadith, a sahih hadith, right?
But we're still different.
No, let me tell you.
We're still different.
Yeah, but not a difference between sahih and rejected. You know, there's levels of authenticity. What I'm saying is, if you can be sure Prophet Muhammad said something, you obey him. That's your prophet. It doesn't matter if you're Shia, Sunni, whatever. The point is, it's your prophet, right? The point I was making is, if someone wants to reject hadith, the Quran is hadith.
Yeah, Quran
Because
is the best of hadith.
sorry, the reason it's hadith, because the Prophet told us that this is the Quran. We know it's the Quran because the Prophet told us. That's what I'm saying. So to reject hadith is we rejecting
I've got a
Quran.
question for you, if I may ask. For example, do we need... In the Quran, it's very clear that, for example, the legislation of what we're allowed to eat and what we're not allowed to eat. Now, if there is a possible hadith, again, I don't know for certain, but if there's a possible hadith that links back to the Prophet Muhammad and that says something other than, for example, let's say hypothetically, there's a rabbit or something that's not in the Quran and it's not in our culture that we do. Let's say a rabbit, I want to eat a rabbit. Is that haram to do or not?
You can eat rabbit.
Okay, fair enough. But there's going to be different people other than yourself, for example, who will come and make a legislation and say this is haram.
If someone wants to do that, then you have to ask them for the evidence.
The Quran, I think in Surah number 6, 177 maybe, that's the area where Allah talks about what's halal and what's haram. And then towards the end it says, bring your witnesses if they testify other than that. So my point is, if there is other legislation additional to the Quran, we have to be very careful what this additional legislation is, if it goes with the Quran or not. That's my perspective. I'm not saying reject all the hadith, because if you reject all the hadith, you reject the whole narration.
The criteria is if it's authentic or not.
Yes.
If it's authentic, it's basically like the Quran in terms of it can be traced back to the Prophet. If you deny authentic hadith, you can't accept the lineage of the Quran either. It's preserved by other Sahaba. It's been passed down. The Quran has come through the Sahaba. And the hadith has come through the Sahaba. Different Sahaba, yeah. But it's come through the Sahaba.
I'm with you on that.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand where you're coming from.
But I agree with you. The Quran and the hadith, it's not... The Quran has a different level of... it's the Kalamullah, right? It's a different level on that perspective. But from a Sharia perspective, it's the same. If you can prove that they come from... the source is still revelation.
I'm with you on that. I don't know.
What I was saying to the sister, and I do believe she's sincere, Allah knows best, it's just, it's difficult when people pull cameras out because you start defending a position rather than listening.
Yes.
But the point, all I was saying is, if you reject hadith, then you've also rejected Quran because it's the same concept.
I've heard this perspective. I understand why. Because even if you reject hadith, you have to now reject the history of what happened.
Yeah.
For example.
But we're not saying all hadith are authentic as well. We're talking about authentic hadith.
I know. And that's why, me personally, how to authenticate it and who is the true, like a true companion, who is not a real companion.
No, this is the thing, right?
So
we're not scholars, right?
Exactly.
So we have to rely on certain scholars. We can look at different scholars, what they say. If we really want to know, we can learn a bit more and do it ourselves. Even you can learn a bit more than the average Muslim, just to understand why that scholar has that opinion, etc. And by the way, yeah.
Not every scholar is going to tell you the truth, because the layman...
No, it's not about truth. It's about they have different understandings and they might disagree on certain things, and that's fine. That's where difference of opinion come in.
There's also a possibility that scholar that may be teaching you is on batil, like false.
Well, that's why you need to know who is he, where did he get his knowledge from, where is he getting his information. That's why you ask people, where's your evidence?
I'm with you.
But the point is, bro, it's all there. It can all be checked.
But the layman now needs to do his own research.
Exactly. And she's obviously been told, and I get where she's coming from. I understand that position. I was like that when I first came to Islam. I thought, hadith, recorded by a companion, sounds like the Bible. But then when I understood how the hadith is preserved and how the Quran is preserved, it's the same way. Yes, it's not got the same status as Quran, but...
I think the Christians would agree that they have a similar concept, in the sense that...
But they don't claim to have Isnad.
The chain of narration, of course, yeah.
They don't have a book that goes back to Moses. They don't have a book that goes back to
be honest,
Jesus. They don't even believe in a book that's
speaking,
given to Jesus.
Christianity is a lot further away from it's been 2,000 plus years. Islam is 1,400 years.
It's only 1,400 years.
Yeah, so that's the difference as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
But the sad thing is, with the
Do
Shia,
research.
from the Shia background, you're from a Shia background, many Shia don't know that Shia scholars believe the Quran is corrupted.
yeah, because people have different backgrounds.
So my question to the Shia is, what's the ruling on somebody who believes the Quran is corrupted? Now, many normal lay Shia will say he's a non-Muslim. Why? Because the Quran says. But when you look at the books of the scholars of the Shia, they say it's corrupted.
I know.
And I can give you, I know how.
I'm with you. I know of that history.
This is a problem.
But ultimately, realistically speaking, at
So
the end
ultimately-
of the day, Quran says, "Lakum dinakum waliya din." If they are separate, right? If this is because, like you said, the scholars of the Shia say that if the Quran is not intact and has been tampered with, they're basically out of the fold of Islam according to the Quran, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then
at the end of
Shiism
the
is
day-
wrong?
But then again, can we deem them to?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I
So
understand where you're
so
coming
listen.
from, but at
So
the end of the day,
you're
can we
back.
not-
So you're now Sunni Muslim,
No, can we not?
and you accept Hadith,
Can we,
huh?
can we not just be brothers regardless of anything?
No problem, brothers. But what we're saying is, bro,
And if there's a
listen.
difference,
I'd
I'm
rather
with
be
that.
your brother in Jannah than your brother who's shouting down,
No, but
saying,
my
"Come."
perspective, you know, is,
Listen.
Can I say something? In Surah Al-Rahman, it says, "Lahum jannatan." Right? My interpretation, obviously, you have to go to tafsir and nuzul al-asbab to really know what it means. My version of it, there's two jannahs, the hereafter and this life, right? Because ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة, right?
Okay.
That's one dua in the Quran. So my perspective is, if we want to be peaceful together, we become brothers in this earth, regardless of our differences, and the hereafter would be the next 100 years.
So how do the way we become peaceful is to unite
Yes,
on truth, though,
and truth.
not on battle. You know, the fact is that the Sunni position is the clear truth.
I've got a question, man.
So no, 1 minute. The Sunni position is the clear truth. So you want to unite, you have to come to the truth.
Okay,
You can't expect someone who has the truth to leave the truth for falsehood.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But my point is, there's good Christians out there and bad Christians, right? There's good Muslims out there and bad Muslims, right?
Yeah.
Despite of our differences in belief, yeah, we can always come together regardless, right? Would you come to that?
To a certain perspective, in a certain level, yeah.
So that's my point. At the
You
end
can
of the
marry
day-
Christians.
Yes, and at the end again, there's a verse in the Quran. It says also that from the Christians and the Jews and the Sabi'in, the Sabians who never believe in Allah and the last day and does righteous works, have their fair share.
Now this is talking about the ones who were Muslim before the Prophet ﷺ came.
That's
Yeah. No, because if you reject one prophet, you reject all of them.
of course.
So the point is that this is talking about the ones who came. For instance, the followers of Isa at the time of Isa were Muslim. It says in the Quran they're Muslim. The ones who follow Moses
Submit to the truth.
were Muslim. Yeah. Now when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you have to accept Muhammad. If you deny Muhammad, you're kafir. So you know what I'm saying.
Nice.
So you're a Sunni Muslim now, yeah?
I am Muslim.
You're Sunni.
Muslim. Hanif. اتبعوا ملة.
You're Muslim. You accept Quran
I'm Hanafi.
and the authentic Sunnah.
I'm Hanafi. Like Abraham, my father.
Hanif.
Hanif. And ما كان من المشركين.
Okay. But you accept authentic Hadith.
I accept what is true.
Okay. Which is authentic Hadith.
If you can provide me the evidence, then yes.
Good. This is good, brother. So.